Okay, a movie review for you. This is 2018 movie, the highly successful A Star Is Born, directed by Bradley Cooper, produced by Bill Gerber, John Peters and three others. Bradley Cooper. Screenplay, well, Cooper was involved in this. It's very much his pet project here. Eric Roth and Will Fetters helped him on the screenplay. It's based on the other versions, the 54 and 76 version. More about that in a second. Plus the story by William Wellman and Robert Carson. In the cast, well, guess what? Bradley Cooper in the lead role as Jackson Jane Maine. He's an established singer-songwriter, but he's also an alcoholic. He's supported by Lady Gaga, who plays Allie Maine. She's a singer-songwriter who's discovered by Jack and later becomes his wife and also his partner on stage. Sam Elliott plays Bobby Maine, Jack's older half-brother and manager. Rafi Gavron, he's a music producer and Allie's manager. We've got Allie's father, Andrew Dice Clay, plays a lot Lorenzo. And I'm just going through the others. There's a few others. There will be a slide mapping out all these supporting acts, particularly the drag stars, which we'll refer to in a minute. And as I said, this A Star Is Born, it's a remake, and there's been three before. The first was in 1937, the original William Wellman production, starring Frederick March and Janet Gaynor. Then in 54, it was redone, starring Jodie Garden and James Mason. And then the 76 version starred Barbara Streisand and Chris Christopherson. So a lot to live up to, really. And as I say, it's Cooper's project, very much so. But it was the acting debut for one Lady Gaga. And I think it's fair to say that I did enjoy it. Very predictable one, however, a love story that ends up going sour. The plot's hardly difficult to follow. Jack's a country rock guitarist. He's very famous. He fills stadiums and large arenas when he goes on the road, but he's slowly walking towards the abyss, meaning alcoholism and drug addiction. He's a lonely sort of guy. He's got an older brother on the roadie team, Bobby, played by Elliot. But amidst all his wealth, he has a chauffeur who's also a physiotherapist to deal with his aches and pains. And he also suffers from tinnitus. He's got a really big emotional hole in his life. And one night after a show, he heads into town, courtesy of his chauffeur, and winds up in a bar which is occupied by cross-dressers, transvestites, and of others of that ilk, of the transgender type. And he comes across one, Allie, played by Gaga, who's the part-time singer at the bar. After he arrives, he hears her performance of La Vie en Rose, a very, very famous Edith Piaf song, and Allie's very scantily dressed. She's almost sort of modelling herself on Piaf, but just jazzing it up to latter day, where things are more permissive. Jack, of course, takes a shine to her. The romance begins, and they share a love of music, of course. She can write songs, and you've guessed it, shortly after, she's ushered on stage to have a duet with the superstar Jack in the middle of a huge concert. And then she becomes part of the band, and they eventually get married. But then she gets spotted by a record producer who thinks that she could do far better if she goes to become a solo artist, and he snaps her up, and this is the beginning of the end. The love starts to waver, and crumble, and it ends up rather sour. Film performances are fairly competent, predictable script, nothing particularly outstanding in the performance, but they're solid. And there is a glut of nominations that are duly arrived for this picture. Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Supporting Actress, Adapted Screenplay, and photography as well, I believe. And so you can get the gist of it. That's why I'm going through fairly quickly. The photography is particularly good, though, with the concert scenes and sound mixing. Certainly impressive. And of course, there's a song written by Lady Gaga that stands out in the movie called Shallow, which was bound to walk away with the top song Oscar. Give it a watch. I think you'll enjoy it, but it's fairly MOR, sort of bubblegum style Hollywood. Don't expect anything too dramatic. And that's it, really. I got very little else to say about it. A Star Is Born. Just to say, I haven't seen the previous three. Maybe I use that term a lot. Maybe I'll get round and watch one in the near future.